Rico, a bounty hunter that Buck admires, blows into town, and that gives Maggie the idea to go after Alameda Slim for the reward money.
I reckon you'd want a fast horse, huh? Real fast? Of course, he'd also have to be able to go for days without food or drink.
I couldn't understand it. He treated this scrawny two-legged like one of our kind, prancing around him like a love-struck yearling. It was downright unnatural.
Hey, Rusty! Rico's saddle! I'm wearing Rico's saddle! I'm wearing Rico's saddle!
The sheriff ties the cows to a chuck wagon, failing to recognize Calloway's distinctive hat, and our heroes are off on a cattle drive where they do indeed run into Alameda Slim. Oh my god, can you believe it? A Disney character is singing! He must have heard me before when I asked for it. It just took him a while to get here. Actually, this song is just kind of making fun of the inherent ridiculousness of musical numbers, but still! Oh my god, his mouth is moving and the sound is coming out! It's not the disembodied voice! Yay! It seems that Slim's yodeling hypnotizes cattle, but Grace is immune because she's tone deaf. All of this makes a little more sense if you know that this was originally going to be an adaptation of the Pied Piper of Hamlet, though you might not guess that unless you catch this lyric, or read it on Wikipedia, like I did. For a novelty song, it's not even that bad, but the thing is that it's a Disney villains song, and that carries certain expectations. I don't even have to compare it to other villains songs, just the titles. The World's Greatest Criminal Mind, Poor Unfortunate Souls, Be Prepared, Hellfire, Yodel Addle Edel Addle Ooh. What if the villain song from Home on the Range was more like this?
Home on the range, where critters are tied up in chains. I cut through their sides, tearing off their hides, and the next day I do it again. Everybody!
Grace saved Maggie and Mrs. Calloway from infiltrating Slim's herd, thus meaning that they now have to track him down again. Meanwhile, Buck has been abandoned by Rico and plots to capture Slim himself to impress the bounty hunter. You know how some recent movies are told from the perspective of the monster or the villain? Well, this movie is sort of told from the perspective of the sidekicks. They're a trio of extreme personalities, and Maggie and Mrs. Calloway love to do the old sidekick bickering routine. But buried in this is actually a very intriguing concept. What if, instead of trying to help the young hero, the trio of bickering middle-aged women was actually in direct competition with him? The more traditional Disney hero is, of course, Buck, who's young and enthusiastic and motivated by dreams. But instead we focus on Maggie, who's motivated by...
Revenge! Revenge!
That's right, a Disney heroine motivated by dirty, violent vengeance. Again, potential badassery, but it's all spoiled by the execution.
You know you don't have to do this.
What's that, little Blackie?
I said you don't have to do this.
But I'm afraid nothing will be done about Home on the Range except I do it myself.
You're kidding, right? What, just while you were dawdling about doing this review, even Mr. Douglas Walker finally put his 2 cents in.
I do not want it to pay for what it did to some nostalgia critic in Chicago, Illinois. I want it to pay for what it did to me.
How old did you say you were?
That is a silly question. I am 30 years old.
These are the last of Big Mike Donald's herd.
Big MacDonald had a farm?
Note Slim's 3 comic relief sidekicks, because this needs comic relief, to take the edge off.
Perfect time for a certain upstanding landowner to step in and take all the land.
Who are you? What do you do with Uncle Slim? Put up your dukes, Mr. Fancy Britches.
It's me. Hello. This here is the disguise I use to sneak into all them auctions and buy all the land.
Now this could just be a joke on the whole glasses as a disguise thing, or just on how stupid the Willies are, but But I have a scarier thought. What if this is so the audience can understand the plot?
Who are you? What do you do with Uncle Slayer?
Back in the day, I worked the highfalutinest ranches you ever seen. But those stuck-up ranch bosses couldn't appreciate my talents.
Maybe they just didn't like your singing.
My singing? Songbirds sing. Saloon gals sing. Little bitty snot-nosed children sing. I yodel, and yodeling is an art!
Again, I can't help comparing Slim with other Disney villains. I bet the Horned King could have made something of this corny dialogue.
Songbirds sing. Saloon gals sing. Itty bitty snot-nosed children sing. I yodel, and yodeling is an art.
Come to think of it, The Black Cauldron is an interesting movie to compare this to. They're both synonymous with the phrase bad Disney movie, both huge flops, both nearly killed the medium, both made against a backdrop of corporate turmoil, and they practically bookend the Eisner era. But given the choice between the two, I'd take The Black Cauldron. It's a mess, but what it does well, creepiness, it does very well.
You did well, my boy.
Incidentally, both also feature farm animals in hypnotic trances. How about that? Thanks to Buck's shenanigans and a sudden downpour, the cows lose the trail and then get caught in a flash flood. Calloway blames Maggie for everything, and Maggie decides it's time to go out on her own.
Yeah. Fine. It's not like your farm was ever going to feel like home to me anyways.
That would be the opening strains of a sad song montage, a popular convention of non-musical animated films of the day. Well, the song, Will the Sun Ever Shine Again, is actually very moving, but the movie is neither emotional nor epic enough to support it. And it's sung beautifully on the film soundtrack by Bonnie Raitt, but you won't hear her in this video because I wanted to put the song in my own personal emotional context.
Rain is pouring down like the heavens are hurting. Seems like it's been dark since the devil knows when. How do you go on never knowing for certain? Will the sun ever shine again? Seems like it's been years since it started to thunder. Clouds are camping out in the valley.
It's awful, isn't it?
I didn't want to believe you.
When you can't help but wonder, will the sun ever shine again? What if the rain keeps falling? What if the sky stays gray? What if the winds keep squalling? Never go away. Pretty soon the storm will be tired of blowing. Pretty soon it all will be over, and then how do you go on when there's no way of knowing? Will the sun ever shine? Wish I could say, send me a sign, one little ray. Lord, if you're listening, how long until then? Will the sun ever shine again?
Comic relief!
Hey, damn it! This happens all the time. Now, where was I?